Hi, welcome to my video on Solve by Quadratic Formula Part 5. We're solving an equation ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 by the quadratic formula. And this video is stressing that the quadratic formula can be used for any equation in this form. And also, I'm doing some extra practice on the math skills. So here we go. An example. X squared plus 10 x squared plus 10 equals negative 7x. So x squared plus 7x minus 10 equals 0. And a is 1, b is 7, c is negative 10. So the quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And b is 7, so it's a negative of the 7 plus or minus 7 squared minus 4. A is 1. C is negative 10 all over 2a. 2 times a is 1. And that gives us a negative 7 plus or minus square root of 49 plus 40. That's a plus 10 there. So that's a plus 10. I wrote it down as a minus 10. So that's minus 40 all over 2. And that's a negative 7 plus or minus root of 9 all over 2. And that gives us negative 7 plus or minus 3 all over 2. So notice the square root of 9 is 3. So I can add and subtract those. So negative 7 plus 3 over 2. Or negative 7 minus 3 over 2. That's a negative 4 over 2. Or negative 10 over 2. So the answers are negative 2 and negative 5. Notice that this number right here is a 9. Because the 9 is a perfect square, then it works out to be a rational number or an integer. So that's a 3. So we're able to add and subtract these two numbers. That means because that's a perfect square, this could also be done by factoring. So notice x squared is x and x. The factors of 10 to give you a 7. That's the product is 10. The sum is 7. That's a 5 and a 2. And because the product is positive and the sum is positive, I have two pluses. So that means x plus 5 equals 0. Or x plus 2 equals 0. So x is negative 5 or x equals negative 2. So the quadratic formula will work for any equation that's written into ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Only sometimes it can be factored if the product and the sum works out to be rational numbers. B, so we have to put it in the ax squared plus bx plus c form. So negative 2x squared minus 5x plus 1 equals 0. I do not want a to be negative, so I'll multiply every term by negative 1. So it's a 2x squared plus 5x minus 1 equals 0. A is 2, b is 5, c is negative 1. X equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So I get a is 5, so that's 5, the negative of 5, plus or minus the square root of b squared, so b is 5 again, minus 4, a is 2, c is negative 1, all over 2 times what A is. A is 2. So that gives me a negative 5 plus or minus. And if you want, you could work that out somewhere else without keep writing this down. So that's a 25 plus 8, and that works out to be a 33. So rather than keep working this down and writing it down, work this out somewhere else and you get the 33 and then put it in. So that's negative 5 over 4 plus or minus the root of 33 over 4. Because negative 5 and 33 are not like terms, so we can't add them. So it's a negative 5 over 4 plus root 33 over 4, or negative 5 over 4 minus the root of 33 over 4. So we're solving it by quadratic formula, but we have more math skills to practice, and that's what this one is all about. But again, extra practice for the quadratic formula. Here we go. Negative x squared plus 2x plus 8 equals 0, because I moved the 8 over. Change the sign. Multiply by negative 1 to have the leading term positive. I like to have A positive, no fraction, no decimals. A is 1, B is, A is 1, put a 1 there. B is negative 2, C is negative 8. X equals negative B plus or minus square root B squared minus, minus, I'm going to write a plus then, minus 4AC all over 2A. So B is negative 2, so it's the negative of a negative 2 plus or minus negative 2 squared minus 4. A is 1 and C is negative 8 all over 2 times A. A is 1. And that's a 2 plus or minus. Again, if you want to work this out up here, that's you square first to get a 4. Then you multiply to get positive 32, which gives you 36. So that's a 36. And that's 2 plus or minus 6 over 2, which is 2 plus 6 over 2, or 2 minus 6 over 2. So that gives me 8 over 2, or negative 4 over 2. And the final answer is 4 or negative 2. Again, this is the 36 underneath the root, so that means this could have been factored. And just to check, let's see, x squared, just to show you, because that's a 36 again, which ended up be 6, this is factorable. And let's see, product is negative 8, sum is negative 2, and so it's x squared is x and x. Factors of 8 to give me a 2 are 4 and 2. 8 and 1 won't give you a 2. Because the product is negative 8, then I have to have a negative 4 and a positive 2. Why? Because when you add these two numbers, you get a negative 2. And x minus 4 equals 0. So x is 4, or x plus 2 equals 0. So x is negative 2. And that's, so the quadratic formula always works, but factoring will only work when the numbers, the factors of 8 fit to give you the 2 when they're rational. Number 2, we have fractions, so the LCD is 3, so I'll multiply all terms by 3. And when I do, every denominator will cancel out. Three times 0, 0. Notice they cancel out here. They get the 1. They cancel here to give you 13. They didn't cancel here, so I got a 9. And so A is 1, B is 9, C is 13. So x equals negative B plus or minus square root. And again, you should have it memorized by now. So B is 9, so that's the negative of a 9. Plus or minus 9 squared minus, I'm going to put plus then, minus 4. A is 1, C is 13, all over 2A is 2 times 1. That gives me negative 9 plus or minus, and let's work this out. Again, I'll work that out here. 9 squared is 81, minus negative 4 times 1 times 13 is negative 52, and that gives me a 29. So that's the square root of 29 over 2. They can't add or subtract, so it's a negative 9 over 2, plus or minus the root of 29 over 2. So we have two answers, negative 9 over 2 plus root 29 over 2, or negative 9 over 2 minus the root of 29 over 2. Practice, practice, practice makes perfect. The more you practice, normally the better you get. So we have some work to do here. Now we have to simplify this equation first. So we multiply to get rid of brackets. So 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times negative 9, negative 18x. Negative 10 times x, negative 10x. Negative 10 times negative 2 is a plus 20. And we have to move all terms to the left side. And when you do, you change the sign of the ones you're moving over. Negative 10 becomes plus, plus 20 becomes minus. We add up the like terms, and the x's add up to give me negative 8x. And I see a 2, so I can divide by 2. Because I have an equation, I can divide by 2 and balance it. I get x squared minus 4x minus 10 equals 0. And so, again, A is 1, B is negative 4, C is negative 10. And x equals negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So b is negative 4, so it's the negative of a negative 4 plus or minus negative 4 squared minus 4. A is 1. C is negative 10 all over 2 times A, which A is 1, 2 times 1. Negative of a negative positive, plus or minus. And again, let's work this out. Negative 4 squared is 16. 16, negative 4 times 1 times negative 10 is a positive 40. And that gives me 56. So I have the square root of 56 over 2. And let's go up here. And the square root of 56. 56 is 2 into 56 goes 28. 2 into 28 goes 14. So I see a 4. So because that's a 4 times 14, I have a 2 root 14 for the root of 56 all over 2. So it's 4 over 2 plus or minus 2 root 14 over 2. 2 plus or minus root 14. So one answer is 2 plus root 14, and the other one is 2 minus root 14. Two answers. Again, doing a little bit of extra math and simplifying to get to the quadratic formula. And repeat, the quadratic formula always works. And number 4, we have to simplify this equation again, simplify each side. So what I do, I multiply the binomials first. X times x is x squared. Outside is negative x. Inside is a 3x. And last is a negative 3. Multiply the right side, x squared plus 6x. And I always simplify before I do. When I multiply by 4, I'll add these x's up to get less terms to work with. And now I'll multiply by 2. So notice I multiplied by FOIL first, and then I multiplied by 2 after I find that consistent, easier to work with. If you multiply by 2 first, you only multiply 2 by the x plus 3. You don't multiply 2 by x plus 3 and x minus 1. So that's why I multiplied a FOIL here first. Simplify that and then multiply by 2. Less chances of making a mistake. X squared minus x squared plus 4x minus 6x minus 6. So notice x squared becomes a negative, 6x becomes a negative. Simplify, I get x squared minus 2x minus 6 equals 0. I added the x squareds and added the x's. And now I have a is 1, b is negative 2, c is negative 6. So x equals negative b. B squared minus 4ac all over 2a. B is negative 2, so it's the negative of a negative 2, plus or minus. Negative, b is negative 2, negative 2 squared. A is 1, and c is negative 6. And 2a is 1, so it's 2 times 1. So that gives me a 2. Negative of a negative is positive. And again, I work this out easier. I get a 4, and that's negative 4 times 1 times negative 6 is a 24. So that gives me a 28. So it's less writing down to do when you simplify that. And 2 plus or minus 28 is 4 times 7. So it's a 2 root 7 over 2. You can't add these. So let's go right here. We get 2 over 2 plus or minus 2 root 7 over 2. 1 plus or minus root 7. The 2's cancel and the 2's cancel. So I get 1 plus root 7 or 1 minus root 7. Two answers. Again, we're simplifying this to ax squared plus bx plus c. So a little bit of extra math. And to end it off, why not solve and check to make sure you're okay? So we have an x squared minus 4x plus 1 equals 0. So we have a is 1, b is negative 4, c is 1. So x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. B is negative 4, so I get the negative of a negative 4 plus or minus. B is negative 4. A is 1. And C is 1. And A is 1. So I get 4 plus or minus, and work this out. Negative 4 squared is 16. Negative 4 times 1 times 1 is a negative 4. So that's a negative 12. So that's the square root of 12 all over 2. And the square root of 12 is 4 times 3, so it's a 2 root 3 over 2. I cannot add or subtract these, so I go 4 over 2 plus or minus 2 root 3 over 2. That gives me 2 plus or minus root 3. Now, we're going to check them. So I'm going to take x equals 2 plus root 3, and I'm going to sub that into this equation. Notice I'm subbing it into the original equation. So x is 2 plus 2 root 3 squared. X is 2 plus root 3 equals negative. So x is 2 plus root 3, 2 plus root 3, and I simplify. So I have the FOIL. X plus root 3, 2 plus root 3 times 2 plus root 3. Because I'm squaring, I expand it out to do a FOIL. So 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times root 3, 2 root 3. Root 3 times 2 is 2 root 3. Root 3 times root 3 is 3. Because when you multiply a square root by itself, you get the same number. 4 times 2 is 8. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Negative 4 times root 3 is negative 4 root 3. And I got a negative 4 root 3, and I got a 2 root 3 and a 2 root 3, so they cancel out. I have a 7 minus 8. Negative 1 equals negative 1. So 2x plus 3 is a root. Now we have the other root, which is 2 minus root 3. Again, write down the equation. Sub in 2 minus root 3 for x. And we expand it out. So notice I subbed 2 minus root 3 in the place of x right here. In the place of x, I expand it. When I square, I multiply by itself. So there it is. And now I'm ready to multiply these two, and equal negative 1. So 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times negative root 3 is negative 2 root 3. Negative root 3 times 2 is negative 2 root 3. Negative times a negative is a positive. Root 3 times root 3 is 3. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Negative 4 times negative root 3 is a positive 4 root 3 equals negative 1. And that's negative 2 root 3, negative 2 root 3. They cancel it to give me 0. And 4 plus 3 is 7 minus 8. Negative 1 equals negative 1. So that's true and that's true. So therefore, the roots are 2 plus root 3 or 2 minus root 3. So that's, again, more practice on the quadratic formula. Hopefully you know how to solve by the quadratic formula. And if you like my video, click the like button, the subscribe button, notification bell. Visit my website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. And that's the content that's on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. Thank you very much for viewing my video. Bye-bye.